Today I want to explore a question many lifters ask. Does taking a pre-workout powder actually make your workout better, or are you just paying for flavored caffeine? To answer that, we'll conduct a simple A-B comparison. We'll look at one workout performed without any supplement and another done under the same conditions but with a clinically dosed pre-workout. By holding variables like the lifter, routine, and training environment constant, we can isolate how a pre-workout affects energy, focus, stamina, pump, and perceived fatigue. This analysis will combine research and real-world experience to help you decide whether the scoop is worth it. First, let's define the A-B test concept we'll use. To fairly evaluate a pre-workout, we need to control as many factors as possible. In our A-B test, a single lifter performs the same workout twice. Scenario A is the baseline, no supplement, just sleep, nutrition, and motivation. Scenario B uses a clinically dosed pre-workout. We compare how the lifter feels and performs in both sessions, measuring energy levels, mental focus, stamina, pump, and perceived fatigue. By keeping the workout and conditions consistent, any differences can more confidently be attributed to the supplement rather than random variation. This controlled approach provides insight into whether a pre-workout offers more than a psychological lift. Next, let's recall what pre-workouts are designed to do in theory. A good pre-workout isn't just a caffeine bomb. It's formulated to support multiple aspects of performance. First, stimulants such as caffeine provide a rapid increase in alertness and drive. Second, cognitive ingredients like alpha-GPC or tyrosine aim to sharpen mental focus so you can maintain proper technique and mind-muscle connection. Third, nitric oxide boosters like L-citrulline widen blood vessels, increasing blood flow for a bigger pump and improve nutrient delivery. Finally, buffering agents and creatine help delay muscular fatigue by regulating acidity and replenishing ATP. When dosed correctly, these ingredients work together to enhance both the feel and output of your training. To see how natural performance compares, let's examine the baseline workout. When you train without a pre-workout, your performance depends entirely on your natural reserves. Your energy levels reflect how well you slept, ate, and recovered. Mental focus fluctuates with your mood, stress level, and the environment. No extra cognitive support helps you lock in. The pump you experience comes from your warm-up and the effort you put into each set. There's no nitric oxide booster to amplify blood flow. As the session progresses, muscle glycogen is depleted and metabolic byproducts accumulate, leading to an increase in perceived exertion. You may grind through the workout, but you're relying solely on intrinsic motivation and physiological stores. Now let's look at what a well-formulated pre-workout brings to the table. A pre-workout formula is more than just a flavored drink. Clinically dosed products typically include 200 to 250 milligrams of caffeine, enough to sharpen alertness without overdoing it. They contain 6 to 8 grams of L-citrulline, which raises nitric oxide levels and enhances blood flow. Beta-alanine is included at 3 to 6 grams per day to increase muscle carnosine and delay the burn that limits high-intensity exercise. Some formulas add tyrosine or alpha-GPC to support neurotransmitter production and keep you mentally engaged, though evidence is mixed at lower doses. Importantly, the benefits of these ingredients appear only when the amounts align with research. A scoop with fairy dust dosing won't match the results shown in studies. Let's explore how caffeine drives energy and stimulation. Caffeine is the backbone of most pre-workouts because of its rapid effect on the central nervous system. It works by blocking adenosine receptors, reducing feelings of fatigue, and making you feel more awake. This stimulant also increases the release of adrenaline, elevating heart rate and sharpening mental drive. Research indicates that doses of around 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight improve endurance, strength, and reaction time, while doses as low as 2 milligrams per kilogram can still provide a lift for those sensitive to caffeine. However, taking more doesn't yield proportionally greater performance and can lead to jitters or sleep disruption. Knowing your own tolerance helps you use caffeine strategically rather than indiscriminately. Next, let's look at the evidence on how caffeine translates into exercise performance. Meta-analysis consistently show that caffeine improves time trial performance by roughly 2 to 3%, small but meaningful gains for athletes. It also increases mean power output and peak strength in many trials and improves reaction time and vigilance, helping you stay mentally engaged throughout a session. Importantly, these benefits are achieved at moderate doses. Pushing into very high intakes doesn't produce commensurate gains, but does increase side effects like anxiety and elevated heart rate. So while caffeine is a reliable ergogenic aid, it is not a cure-all, and dosing and timing remain critical. Now let's consider how adding nootropics and other cognitive enhancers can further sharpen focus and motivation. Beyond basic stimulation, mental focus, and motivation play a huge role in workout quality. Caffeine and its cousin theobromine increase dopamine and norepinephrine, improving mood and making you feel more motivated. Alpha GPC at about 600 milligrams has been shown to improve lower body force output by boosting acetylcholine levels, a neurotransmitter involved in motor control. Tyrosine supports catecholamine synthesis and may help maintain cognitive function under stress. However, most exercise studies use very high doses around 150 milligrams per kilogram, so typical pre-workout amounts may not be enough. When cognitive ingredients are dosed effectively, they can enhance the mind-muscle connection, leading to better technique and more focused reps. With the mental side covered, let's examine how pump ingredients improve blood flow. A pump isn't just about aesthetics, it's driven by real physiological changes. Nitric oxide widens blood vessels, allowing more blood to flow into working muscles. L-citrulline, in doses of 6 to 10 grams, converts to arginine and increases nitric oxide production more effectively than arginine itself. Enhanced blood flow delivers oxygen and nutrients while removing waste products like lactate. A stronger pump can make it easier to feel muscle contractions and maintain the mind-muscle connection, potentially improving exercise quality. Better circulation also supports recovery by speeding nutrient delivery post-workout. Pump ingredients add another dimension to what a pre-workout can do beyond just energy. Next, we'll turn to endurance and fatigue resistance. Endurance and fatigue resistance depend on more than just your mental state. Beta-alanine combines with histidine in muscle cells to form carnosine, which buffers hydrogen ions and delays the drop in pH that causes the burning sensation during high-intensity exercise. Effective supplementation calls for around 3.2 to 6.4 grams per day, consumed consistently over weeks. Creatine replenishes ATP by increasing phosphocreatine stores in muscle after a loading phase. 3 to 5 grams daily helps maintain saturation. Taken together, these ingredients improve your ability to sustain effort and produce explosive bursts. They don't work instantly like caffeine. Their benefits accumulate with regular use. Having covered endurance, let's discuss perceived effort and how pre-workouts can alter how hard a session feels. How hard a workout feels isn't solely determined by your muscles. Your brain plays a big role. Stimulants like caffeine reduce the rate of perceived exertion, allowing you to push harder before you feel taxed. In one study, a multi-ingredient pre-workout increased the number of bench press reps from about 89 to nearly 97, and lowered the participants' RPE from 8.3 to 7.6 compared with placebo. Interestingly, placebo effects can yield similar reductions in perceived effort. Simply believing you've taken a performance aid can make exercise feel easier. Both physiological mechanisms and psychological expectations shape your experience. To understand actual output changes, we'll look at performance differences documented in trials. Controlled trials show that well-formulated pre-workouts can deliver tangible performance benefits beyond reduced perception of effort. Participants taking a multi-ingredient supplement demonstrated faster reaction times and higher peak power compared to those on placebo. They completed more bench press repetitions, nearly 7 more on average, and felt less exerted doing so. However, not every product yields these results. Differences in ingredient types, doses, and quality lead to variability. Personal factors such as genetics, caffeine tolerance, and training status also affect responsiveness. When interpreting research, it's important to consider these nuances rather than assuming all pre-workouts are equal. Next, we'll explore the psychological factors that can amplify or diminish a supplement's impact. The mind and body are closely linked when it comes to training. The simple act of mixing a scoop of powder, shaking your bottle, and sipping your drink becomes a ritual that tells your brain it's time to perform. Even smelling coffee can improve performance through conditioned expectations. Positive beliefs about a supplement's efficacy trigger the release of dopamine and endorphins, heightening motivation and enjoyment. This mental priming often enhances your drive more than the active ingredients themselves. Recognizing these psychological effects helps you differentiate between true physiological benefits and the power of your own expectations. Let's take that a step further and examine the placebo effect more directly. Placebo effects aren't trivial, they can meaningfully boost performance. Studies have shown that a caffeine placebo increased leg extension strength by nearly 24%, and that participants lifting weights after receiving a placebo amino acid improved their performance by 11%. These improvements occurred without any active ingredient expectation, and conditioning did the work. Athletes who believe they've consumed an ergogenic aid often push harder, feel less pain, and report greater satisfaction. Conditioning from past experiences, like always performing well after a certain ritual, also reinforces the effect. While placebo gains are real, They don't replace physiological enhancements. The next slide contrasts placebo effects with real physiological changes. It's important to distinguish between feeling stronger and actually being stronger. Placebos can lower perceived exertion and make you complete more work, even though no physiological changes are taking place. In some studies, both caffeine and a placebo perceived as caffeine improve motor performance, underscoring the power of expectation. Active ingredients, however, produce measurable changes on top of psychological boosts. Caffeine increases catecholamine levels and calcium mobilization. Citrulline raises nitric oxide. Creatine replenishes ATP. Together, these physiological effects enhance muscle function beyond what mindset alone can achieve. Understanding this distinction helps you interpret research on supplements and use them strategically. Now let's consider when using a pre-workout might make the most difference. A pre-workout isn't necessary for every session. Its impact depends on context. If you train early in the morning or after a night of poor sleep, caffeine and pump ingredients can compensate for lower baseline energy. During high volume or high intensity workouts, the extra endurance and delayed fatigue can help you maintain performance across sets. On competition days or when you're attempting a personal record, the boost to mental drive and focus may enhance execution under pressure. In these situations, strategically using a clinically dosed pre-workout can make a noticeable difference. For routine maintenance or technique work, it might not be as valuable, which we'll explore next. Not every training day calls for a stimulant boost. If you're focusing on technique, mobility, or low-intensity conditioning, the benefits of a pre-workout are minimal. Precision matters more than pump. On days when you're well-rested, well-fed, and already energized, adding caffeine might just increase jitteriness without adding performance. Individuals who experience anxiety, heart palpitations, or difficulty sleeping from stimulants should be particularly cautious. In these cases, skipping the scoop helps you listen to your body and maintain balance. Having discussed when pre-workout matters, let's emphasize that the quality of the formula itself is another critical factor. The effectiveness of a pre-workout hinges on what's inside the tub. Many products rely heavily on caffeine as filler and include fairy dust amounts of pump and endurance ingredients. Proprietary blends list a series of compounds without disclosing individual doses, making it impossible to verify efficacy. Underdosed formulas may deliver little beyond a cheap stimulant kick. To ensure you're getting real value, look for open labels with clinically supported amounts of citrulline, beta-alanine, creatine, and any cognitive ingredients. Transparent labeling not only builds trust but also allows you to match your supplement to research. Speaking of research, let's recall the clinical dosing ranges that should guide your comparisons. When comparing labels, use research-supported ranges as your benchmark. For pump, look for 6 to 10 grams of pure L-citrulline or 8 grams of citrulline malate. Beta-alanine should reach at least 3.2 grams daily to meaningfully raise carnosine stores. Many athletes go up to 6.4 grams. After a loading phase, creatine remains effective at 3 to 5 grams per day. Caffeine's sweet spot is 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, avoiding mega doses that offer minimal extra performance. These numbers aren't arbitrary. They come from controlled studies. Use them as a baseline to gauge whether a product is likely to help or just pad the label. Now let's discuss how to evaluate your own experience using these supplements. No amount of research replaces personal experience. To determine if a pre-workout helps you, track hard data, how many sets and reps you complete, the weight lifted, and how long you can maintain intensity before fatigue sets in. Equally important are subjective metrics. Note your energy level, mental focus, pump quality, and rate of perceived exertion. Keep in mind that expectation alone can enhance output, so try to control for placebo effects by occasionally training without a scoop and comparing results. Individual factors like genetics, sleep quality, and nutrition also influence responsiveness. By logging these variables over multiple sessions, you can identify patterns and decide whether a pre-workout truly boosts your training. To wrap up, here's what matters most. Pre-workouts can deliver genuine benefits when they include clinically dosed ingredients, improved energy, sharper focus, bigger pumps, and enhanced endurance. However, your mindset and expectations also influence performance. Placebos can produce moderate gains on their own. Many products on the market are underdosed or rely on proprietary blends, so read labels carefully. Decide whether to use a supplement based on your goals, caffeine tolerance, and the nature of your training session. Above all, remember that no powder can replace the fundamentals. Consistent hard work, adequate sleep, and solid nutrition are the pillars of progress. A pre-workout is just a tool in your toolbox. Finally, let's emphasize the balance between evidence, psychology, and personal experience. Ultimately, a scoop of pre-workout isn't a magic solution, it's a supplement. It can amplify the work you're already doing by giving you more energy, focus, and pump when used intelligently, but it won't replace dedication, sleep, or proper nutrition. We've covered how science, psychology, and self-experimenting all contribute to determining whether a pre-workout is right for you. Balance these elements as you make decisions about supplementation. If you found this breakdown helpful, share it with friends and stay tuned for more evidence-based insights into how to optimize your training. Together, we can cut through the hype and make smarter choices for our health and performance.